Muammar Gaddafi gave him a hero's welcome, but now Muammar's on his way out, and Mitt Romney wants Mohammed Ali al-Megrahi back. The Republican frontrunner calling on the new Libyan government to arrest and extradite the alleged mastermind behind the Pan Am 103 bombing. So, as Governor Romney put it, justice can finally be done. With me now, Republican presidential candidate, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. Governor, good to have you.
Thanks, Neil. Good to be with you.
We don't know the state of Muammar Gaddafi, let alone the alleged mastermind of the Pan Am Flight 103 disaster. But if indeed Gaddafi goes down, you think the new government should hand over Megrahi to whom?
Well, to the United States of America would be my first choice. We would try him here and see that justice is done. This is a person responsible for the lives of hundreds of people. This is an individual who was convicted in Scotland but then set free on humanitarian basis, and now 2 years later he's still alive. He received a hero's welcome in Tripoli. It's unacceptable in my view that this person does not face justice. So I'd like to see him face justice as one of the first acts of a new government, hopefully a more democratic, representative form of government, a modern government. Let's get al-Megrahi back to a court and seeking the real justice he deserves.
Do you think this whole backing the rebel thing in Libya, Governor, was and is a wise idea?
Well, we're going to see the results of what's occurred. I think the world celebrates the idea of getting rid of Gaddafi. This guy was one of the worst actors on the world stage, responsible for terror around the world. I think we're very pleased that he's apparently about to lose his position of authority, and we hope that the new government is a more representative form of government that honors human rights and is not as abusive and associated with the terror as the prior regime.
Were you surprised, moving on to the economy now, sir, that oil prices moved up? They didn't go down. You would think just the opposite.
I think it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen to prices from time to time. Dynamics around the world about what's happening with the world economy tends to bring prices down because people are concerned about an economic slowdown. At the same time, if they think that oil fields might be affected, that supply might be affected, well, then prices go up. But I have long since given up trying to predict the ups and downs of oil prices, stock prices, and the like. I think you invest as a nation and as an individual in the long term, and you bet on America, in my view.
Would you buy stocks right now if you were a new investor, just to go into the market right now?
Well, I don't give out stock advice, I've got to be honest, and my investments are held in a blind trust, and so I don't direct people as to what to do with my investments. But yeah, look, I believe in America. I fundamentally believe that the American people are about to say that the Obama experiment has failed. And they recognize that the president's going to come out with a new economic plan. But look, we've seen the results of his last economic plan. It's been an abject failure. They're going to reject President Obama. We're going to get back on track, restore the greatness that is America. And yeah, I'd be investing in America. I think that's a wise decision. And of course, prices are relatively low right now, so may well represent a buying opportunity. Don't bring an action against me for financial advice, but I'm a believer in America.
Another believer in America, Warren Buffett, with whom we're told the president had a phone conversation with from Martha's Vineyard today, Governor, has advocated that he sees some buys in this market, but he gave more publicity for his comments that the rich, people like him, I guess by extension people like you, should pay more in taxes, and he almost felt guilty not paying more in taxes. How do you feel about that?
Well, I can't speak to Warren Buffett's sense of guilt. I can speak to this, that right now we need job creators to use their capital to start new businesses, to put people to work. And the last thing I want to do is to take money away from entrepreneurs and innovators, small business people. When I go across the country and I sit down with various small business folks, they tell me this has been about the most anti-business, anti-investment, anti-growth administration they have ever seen. They have pulled back. Small businesses reticent to invest and to grow. We need jobs right now. And the president and Warren and other people are saying, oh, just give us some money from rich people. Look, people don't want a check. They want a job. And what I want to do is get Americans back to work.
So when you made that comment last week, sir, in Iowa, that corporations are people too, your critics, particularly on the left, seized on that to say you were an out-of-touch elitist. What did you really mean by that?
Well, I said it there, which is, look, if you talk about raising taxes on corporations, recognize that you're raising taxes on people. The concrete and the steel and the corporate headquarters, they don't pay taxes. It's people who pay taxes, either the employees or the shareholders. And by the way, look at your 401k. A lot of people are shareholders. And of course, you can also have customers pay. So people pay taxes. Corporations are like people. They're filled with people, and I want jobs. Look, I spent my life in the private sector. I'm a conservative businessman. I understand how business works to create jobs, to put people to work. And America's business sector has been crushed by policies out of this White House that are so wrong-headed, most people in the business world just shake their head. And many of them take their money and go elsewhere. I wanted to come back to America to create jobs here because I want kids coming out of college to have jobs. I want people who are in their 50s that can't find a job to once again find that people are competing to hire them. Look, we need to get America on the road to economic prosperity, and attacking business like the Democrats want to do and class warfare like some members of the administration want to do is simply the wrong way to go.
You know, Governor, more attention is being paid this week, maybe it's a sign of our times, not so much what the president is saying, but what on Friday Ben Bernanke, the Federal Reserve Chairman, will be saying. And one of your opponents in the race for the presidency, Texas Governor Rick Perry, has said that the Fed's behavior, more specifically buying back these securities and all of this other stuff, printing money, so to speak, is treasonous behavior. He didn't take that back. What do you think of that?
Well, my own view with regards to the Fed is that Ben Bernanke and others are trying to see if they can't restore economic growth, and the failure of the president's policies has been so abject that they're trying through a monetary stimulation to try and get the economy going again. I don't attack their motives, but I do believe that another round of quantitative easing, money printing, if you will, is not the right course for the economy, and suggests a growth of inflation down the road that may well be very, very difficult to stop. So I think QE2 was less than successful, but I want to focus my attention on the place where the failure has been most pronounced, and that's on the Obama administration. Look, if the president would have adopted the policies that Ronald Reagan adopted when Ronald Reagan saw unemployment above 10%, we'd be back having millions of jobs created.
Well, would you
Instead,
be for
we're still
what he's,
seeing
I'm sorry,
a
sir,
huge
but would you
deficit
be
of
for
jobs.
what he's advocating, at least for now, an extension of the payroll tax cut?
I'm all in favor of keeping taxes down and keeping burdens down on American businesses and employers. I want employers and entrepreneurs to have every incentive to open businesses and to start creating jobs.
Okay. You mentioned Governor Rick Perry, or I did, and asked you about it. And he, maybe because you're the leader in this race, it's not surprising that he zeroed in on your comment about your business experience, and I think you had said you and Herman Cain are the only one of the people running now who has it. He said, I think it's oranges and apples, referring to you. Running a state is different from running a business. What I would say is go take a look at his, referring to your record, Governor, when he was governor, my record, when I'm governor, then you've got some apples to apples. And his, he's saying, is better. What say you?
Well, you know, we have a lot of time over the coming months to talk about distinctions between the various candidates, but really the place I think I want to focus my time and attention is on the failure of the president. He's going to come out on November 6th with his jobs plan. Why hasn't he come out with it already? If it's a continuation of what we've seen in the past, we know it'll fail. I'm also in Nevada on September 6th, and I will be coming out with my jobs plan, and it's going to be very different than his. And if we follow my jobs plan, we're going to get America working again. The focus of my effort right now is to make sure that people understand that President Obama and I could not be more different. He spent his life in politics. I spent my life as a business person. I know what it takes to get jobs again in this country.
No one doubts that you have the smarts, Governor. I think what comes up a lot in these polls, this latest one from Rasmussen, which shows the aforementioned Governor Perry leading you, and these things I know are just quick snapshots, but that you don't appear to have the fire or emotion. I'm just wondering whether that troubles you, or whether it's going to be something that's going to dog you, that people just don't think you've got the pizzazz, the oomph to be president.
Well, why don't you go back and pull out the tape from the Iowa State Fair? That may convince you, Neil.
We had it out with that protester.
More than one protester. We had quite a few protesters.
Well, that's true. There were a few
look,
there.
I care. Hey, Neil, let me tell you something. You don't decide to run for president of the United States unless you got fire in the belly. Because let me tell you, there are a lot of incoming shots that come day in and day out. I care very deeply about this country. For myself, for my family, for my grandkids, for the betterment of the world. America's the greatest nation in the history of the earth. It's an exceptional nation. The president has gone around the world apologizing for America. I happen to believe in the principles that made America the leader in the world. And I'll tell you, I'm in this race because I care about this country, and I happen to have the background, having lived in the private sector for 25 years, been a businessman, a successful businessman. By the way, I'm not embarrassed about that. The fact that Bain Capital is one of the leading enterprises of its nature in the world is something I'm proud of. I understand how the economy works, and I want to use that skill to get Americans back to work and to get America, once again, on a ramp to remain, as it's always been, the most powerful economic engine in the world.